Coming up on the Uplift, a moment of pure joy. See what surprise had this young cancer survivor the happiest he has ever been. Then, the journey of a Viking superfan that spans thousands of miles. Find out how one of the team's beloved caterers got the job. And building the next generation of leaders, how one St. Paul teacher is prepping students for futures at historically Black colleges and universities. Welcome to The Uplift. In this new digital series, we're going to be sharing some of our favorite stories that we are sure will put a smile on your face. It's our goal to lift your spirits for at least the next 30 minutes and hopefully for a lot longer. I'm Susan Elizabeth Littlefield. Thank you so much for being with us. We know our postal workers are some of the hardest working people out there, so sometimes they need a little break, a dance break, that is. Take a look at this video. Sue in Elk Rivers captured this. She called her service driver making friends with their family dog, Finny. The two even had a little dance off. What a great break from a long day on the job. Sue said that the video made her whole day, and she hopes it might make your day too. Another great story about man's best friend. A Minneapolis man who is deaf was reunited with his service dog after they were separated for a full 24 hours. Greg Flanagan says he stepped out of his truck for just seconds when it was stolen with his dog Duke inside. Hours later, St. Paul police told Greg that the truck had been recovered, but with no sign of Duke. But nearly 12 hours later, Greg received a call that Duke had been found. Greg says he's relieved to have his companion back, who is much more than just a pet.
He brings my anxiety levels down. He brings the ability to sleep at night comfortably and soundly. From a safety standpoint, he if there was ever a fire, he'd alert me if there's a smoke alarm so I can get out of my house and not die.
The Viking season didn't end the way we hoped, but there was still one huge bright spot from US Bank during the team's final game. During halftime, we saw one young fan's dream come true. This is Charlie. He is a leukemia survivor, and that is the look on his face as the NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, hands him Super Bowl tickets. Have you ever seen a smile that big? What a great moment for this deserving boy and everyone watching. Speaking of the Vikings, we want to tell you about a very special fan and how he came to love the purple and gold. Tony came all the way from Vietnam in the mid-70s. He just wanted to live in America, so he settled in Minnesota, and after 33 years, he closed his restaurant in Eden Prairie. It's the same place where he fell in love with the Vikings, and it's the same place that allowed him to become a team caterer. Mike Max has the story.
It's one of the final days at an institution. For 33 years, they've come to Eden Prairie Center in the Great Mandarin, and now it's closing its doors. For nearly every day in those 3+ decades, the owner, Tony Trong, has been here. How much are you going to miss this?
I miss a lot. I miss a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I thank you for all the year everybody support me.
Because here, everyone knows Tony.
Yes, we've been coming here forever.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of sad, huh?
It's going to be sad. I've been coming here since I moved here in 1990.
To understand why this journey is incredible, you have to go back to here in 1975, when he snuck out of South Vietnam on a boat to Malaysia, a refugee camp, and eventually the United States.
In South Vietnam was very afraid of the communists come in. We tried to escape out by boat, and it was the first time and was successful.
Then his American dream took shape, in part because of the Minnesota Vikings. A Vikings trainer, the late Fred Zamberletti, stopped by for lunch. Soon he would land Tony a freelance gig, catering team meals.
I learned a lot of Viking about professionalism and then how to greet the people. And they are wonderful. Trust me, they are wonderful.
And he had a special customer that came to see him recently, a former coach named Bud Grant.
Before I close up, he walk over here and give me the big hug and say goodbye to me. I was crying because it's just so emotional.
His walls were decorated with Vikings photos. His cup runneth over with souvenirs. Today, that vibrant restaurant sits empty, but it also represents a life well lived.
I chose freedom. I loved to be freedom when I was a kid already.
And the players, they found a friend with good food.
Yeah, he was always excited to come in, a lot of energy. We love seeing the guys. And the food, we called it winning meal, because whenever we needed a win, that's what we'd order.
Because when he shows up at the Vikings, he finds friendship.
It's great. I've been having it for a few years now, so just building that relationship with Tony from him coming and just being so transparent and just being a cool guy. So his food is great. And like I said, he's a cool person too.
You got a pretty good personality, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's more outgoing and he's a fun person to be around. That good energy is always what I'm looking for.
That's just part of his story in the United States. The bigger is that he became a Minnesotan, and he is so appreciative of what became of his life. You lived the American dream.
Yeah, thank you. I did. Even I closed my eye today. I thank you for what I did.
Mike Max, WCCO 4 News.
A St. Paul school is working to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy. Dr. King was a sociology major at Morehouse in Atlanta. The school is a historically black college and university, an HBCU. Now, one teacher is showing kids how they can follow in his academic footsteps. Take a look.
Welcome to Howard University.
These are the modern-day images of a system steeped in history. They are historically black colleges and universities. HBCUs date back to the 1800s, places where, amidst segregation and slavery, African Americans could get the education they deserved.
Cheyney University was founded in 1837. Was that before or after slavery ended?
It's a history being learned at St. Peter Claver. The Catholic school sits in the historic Rondo neighborhood of St. Paul.
I didn't learn what an HBCU was until I was about in the 11th grade.
So now this young teacher is making sure her students learn young.
Growing up, I had maybe 3 black teachers, I think, if that. And then my one professor when I got to college. So if I had that in a larger quantity, it would have set me up better.
She wants them to see black scholars on a larger scale at a younger age, 12 or 13. So this way they can learn their options and get a jump on financial planning for the sometimes pricey private schools.
You're younger than most kids who start talking about college.
Aliana's only in 8th grade, but has already visited several HBCUs.
Is this something you're thinking about, going to an HBCU?
Actually, yes, I've told Miss Araya multiple times that I wanted to go to Morris Brown because I went there, they talked to us, and they just seemed like a big family, and I loved it. I loved the environment.
How many HBCUs are there? Byron?
107.
Yes. I want these kids to be able to see that you can be the smartest woman in the room. You can be the smartest man in the room. I want these kids to be able to see that.
Focused scholars who can now see they are in good company.
Yes. Oh, nice. Come on.
A place to stay warm in the middle of the coldest time of the year. Just ahead, see why people are heading to Cokato to heat up.